In this video, you're going to learn how to use and access EdReady, which is the software that is used for the Math 003 course. The first thing you want to do is go to EdReady's website, which is carteretcc.edready.org. You can find this on our Moodle page, and you can find it in your syllabus as well. If this is the first time that you've used EdReady, you want to hit the Get Started link. You will fill in this information first. Do know that it does not matter if you use your personal email or your school email. Just know that your activation email will be sent to that email address. So make sure that it is an email that you can access. Before you hit sign up for EdReady, please make sure either on your syllabus or some document that you write down the email address that you use and the password that you have created, because your instructor will not be able to access this information for you. When you're ready, hit sign up for EdReady. Before you log into EdReady for the first time, you will need to check your email address and click the activation link. You will receive an email with the subject line, Confirm your EdReady account. From there, click the activation link. Now you are ready to log into your EdReady account using your email address and the password that you created. Do know that in the future, when you go to the EdReady homepage, you will no longer click the Get Started link. Rather, you can use the login feature at the top right-hand corner. From here, you will have to enter a goal key. Your goal key will be provided to you by your instructor. Next, you will hit Get Started. Note that this is the only time you should have to enter a goal key. From this point forward, when you log into EdReady, your course should already appear. So we're going to hit Go to Goal. Let's start by doing a brief overview of what your course looks like in EdReady. In EdReady, there are 3 tiers. Each tier has a tier test. Notice there's also a second test in case a student needs remediation to take the test again. So if you scroll down, you can see there's tier 1, tier 2, and then at the bottom is tier 3. In each tier, you can click the link that says Show Details in order to see more about that tier. Within each tier, there are units. So over on the left-hand side, these are the units for tier 1. Within each unit, there are topics that need to be mastered, and you can scroll over those to see what those topics are. So let's go ahead and click into tier 1 to see what that looks like. So I'm going to click into the link that says View Study Path. When you get to your study path, the very first thing you're going to do is take a unit test. I would strongly encourage you to take your time on your unit test, because the more topics that you master from your unit test, the less work you have to do in the long run. So do really take your time. If there is a question that you do not know, you can hit skip. So I'll show you what that unit test looks like. Many of the questions in the unit test are multiple choice. You are allowed to use a calculator on the unit test. We do require that you take and show work as you complete your unit test, which will be a part of your notebook check. Again, if you do not know the answer, simply hit pass and you will get the opportunity to study more on that topic at a later time. Once you've taken the unit test, it'll show you your score, and then you can hit back to current study path. From there, notice that some of the topics have moved over here to the right-hand side. That means that these are the topics on my unit test that I have mastered. The ones underneath at the bottom that are either red or yellow are topics that I need to review. In order to review a topic, we will use the Learn feature. When you click into the Learn feature, you will click the link that says Study this resource. There are quite a few resources available to you as a student to help you with a specific topic. You have the warm-up, you have a video presentation, you can watch worked examples, there's the topic text or the textbook, there's practice for you to practice before you test again, and then there's also a review. Once you've spent time studying that topic, you will click back to study options, and then back to study path. Again, once you've done the Learn feature for a specific topic, it's time to test on that specific topic. So you will click the test feature for each of the topics that you have reviewed. I would suggest that you do this one at a time rather than going through and doing Learn for each topic and then going to do a test. So I'm going to click the test feature for this specific topic. This will be a lot shorter test than your unit test. Again, it is just testing you on that specific topic. Notice for this topic test, from my learning, I have mastered this topic. It's told me good job that I have mastered the following concepts. When I click back to current study path, notice that this topic now disappears and is now added to this list of topics that I have mastered. I would then continue to do this learn and test for each of the topics that I did not master on my unit test. Notice at this point I have taken the topic test for each of the topics in the very first unit. So over here on the right hand side under units I have mastered, I mastered the whole numbers unit. So if I click back into that unit, again, I had to take the topic test and I have mastered all of these topics at this point. So I am done with unit number 1, which is rounding whole numbers. Do know you can go back again to do the unit test just to make sure that you understand this entire unit. But if you do the unit test again and you do miss some questions, it's going to make you go back and do the topic test one more time. So let's go back to my complete study path. And again, this was my score for my whole numbers unit. The next unit I have is fractions and mixed numbers. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to start by taking this unit test. And at this point you can see how important this unit test is, because the better you do on this unit test, the least number of topics that you're going to have to master. The ones that you do not master from the unit test, you're going to have to go through each one and do the Learn feature and then the topic test feature in order to have this whole entire unit moved over here. Now, keep in mind kind of the hierarchy of things. This study path is all of Tier 1. So you're going to do this for every single unit in Tier 1. I would strongly suggest you go in order, because this is going to mirror what your instructor is lecturing on during the week. Your goal is to get a target score of 100. So once you have mastered every single unit in this tier, you will have a score of 100 and you will be ready to complete the tier test. So at this point, if the student goes back to their home page, notice that everything in Tier 1 is now green, meaning the student has mastered all of these units and has mastered all of the topics within the unit. And so it will tell you you have reached the target score for the study path. At this point, the student is ready to take the tier test, and this is after the instructor has checked their notebook and signed off on their notebook check. Notice that the tier tests are locked. Your instructor will unlock the tier test once you have reached the 100% for your unit and once they have checked your notebook. The tier test must be taken in the computer lab and must be proctored. When you are ready to take your tier test, please make sure to let your instructor know. Your target score for your tier test is an 80%. Once you have reached an 80% or higher, you have mastered that tier, and you will get a grade for Tier 1 of P1. In this case, you can look at the details of your tier test to see which units you missed questions from and which units you mastered. To see specific questions, make sure to ask your instructor to review your tier test with you. If you did not score an 80%, your instructor will provide remediation and you will have the opportunity to take the tier test again. Once again that you have reached an 80% on a tier test, you will then be ready to go into the next tier of Math 003. If you have any questions at all about EdReady or the Math 003 course, please make sure to ask your instructor.